I'm kind of a solo operator, so being able to balance the marketing and the outreach as well as some of the editing. I do hire out when I can. So yeah, just trying to balance it all and just getting comfortable in this new kind of groove I'm in.
The sooner you can systematize it, great. But then the next step is to actually execute on the system.
I started by doing a free offer, virtual tour of their business. That's how I got my client of 6 years now. They got to know me a little, more personally, and then relationship grew from there.
On episode 489 of the podcast, we talk about why booking any project at your current rate might actually be costing you money, and the real sales activity that solopreneurs tend to skip that keeps them stuck on the client roller coaster. And then finally, how to set up background systems, LinkedIn bots, niche lists, AI outreach, all that stuff that brings in leads while you sleep. All that and so much more on today's episode. What's up, friend? Hey, welcome to the Grow Your Video Business Show. This is the show where I help you build a thriving, profitable video business that actually fits the life that you want to live, and so you don't become a slave, or if you are a slave to your work, that you would get out of that lifestyle, work style, and experience the freedom that you dreamed of the day that you started your business. And if you're a freelancer, if you're a freelancer hoping to become full-time in this work, then my hope is that you would get a lot of the tools and resources that you need from the things that I'm building, number one being this show. So thank you for being here. I have a gift if you are new or if you haven't heard about this yet. I have an amazing budgeting tool that I have used for the last, I'm gonna say 11 or 12 years. Oh my gosh, I think it's longer than that. Oh my gosh, it's like 14 or 15 years. Back in the day, I created a spreadsheet in Excel or something like that. And I really tried to break down all of the areas, all of the things that we were doing that were costing us time or money, so that when we would quote a job, we were making sure that each job was profitable. When I started my business, I didn't know much about how to be profitable. I just thought that if I charged somebody $1,000 for a project and they gave me $1,000, that I just made $1,000. But in reality, let's just say I hired somebody and it cost $800 to hire them. I only made $200, right? I mean, they gave me a check for $1,000, but $200 of that is mine. So if I've got any other work related to this project and not just the $800 that I hired, that's going to come out of that $200. So if, let's just say my time, I spent 2 hours managing the project, I spent 2 hours on the phone or whatever, on the phone with the client, all this stuff, and that equals 2 hours. And let's just say maybe I'm charging $50 an hour for my time. That equals, we've only made $100. There's only $100 left over. So this spreadsheet, this approach to profitability, I call it the budget maximizer, and I have an assessment for you to take a look at your numbers and to really get an understanding, like, am I profitable in this work? Am I making money? Where am I losing money? So I created this assessment that you can take so that you can identify some areas that might not be super obvious. I mean, if you're paying a contractor $800, that's very obvious, but there might be some other areas in the work that you're doing. And that's what I've spent the last 14 or 15 years. Just even the last year, I realized there were a couple of epiphanies of like, oh my gosh, we haven't been charging for that. We are spending time on this stuff. I don't want to work for free. It's hard to build a business when you do stuff for free. And if I'm going to do stuff for free, I want it to be that it's because it's an intentional decision on my part. So your free gift lives at growyourvideobusiness.com/quiz. So it's an assessment. It's going to take less than 2 minutes, and I almost guarantee, or your money back. It's free. Remember, if you take this, you're going to find at least one area that you're probably not charging, or if you are charging, you're not charging enough to cover your time, your energy, your expertise, all that stuff. So go check that out, growyourvideobusiness.com/quiz. And that's my gift for you for being here. And I hope it helps you. I think it will, because it really has been a game changer for me, this mindset and this approach. And it's the biggest compliment that I get when I meet people and they're like, dude, your budget maximizer philosophy and the spreadsheet, all that stuff has been super duper helpful for me. So go check that out. Again, thank you for being here. Enjoy this episode. It's a goodie. See you on the backside, flip flop, whatever. Okay, ramble over. What's up, friend? Welcome to another edition of the podcast. Sorry, when I get in my head, I'm just like, wow, I'm so annoying. But I have a little fun with the show. Today, my guest is Derick Fischer, and he's wondering, what the heck are we doing? Ryan, stop. He is a filmmaker. He is the owner and operator of Fishbowl Media, hailing from New Jersey. Derick, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks for having me, Ryan. Pleasure to be here.
Of course. So in the world of video production, the kind of stuff that you get to do, what gets you the most excited or feeling the most fulfilled in the work?
So I do some work with historic societies. So I love being able to help underfunded organizations that, maybe they don't have the budget, giving them some more access to online digital accessibility stuff, and just having my work out there for the public to view and enjoy.
And what was the impetus? I might have used that word once or twice before in my life. I think it means like, what was the thing that made you decide that this is the kind of work that you want to do?
Yeah, so I think it was 3 or 4 years ago. We have in New Jersey, we have this yearly event where you get free access to all of the historic sites in the county.
Ooh.
So being able to jump around to each site and hear everybody's story and just the history and, all the cool photos and little interactive exhibits that they have. I want to be a part of that. So that's kind of how I got into it. The impetus, as you said, of how I started in like historic sites. And yeah, just growing from there.
So that was like you were doing video before that, or that was like you.
Oh yeah, sorry. That's kind of how I like found my niche, I guess, or niche.
That's what it's
like. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I went to school for video production, TV production. So yeah, I worked in corporate America for 6 years in television production and streaming. So, and then I kind of grew my business since 2020 on the side while I was working. And then it could be relatable to a lot of people now, but last November I got laid off. I was part of one of those big cuts at a big news organization. Yeah. So here I am. I'm ready to dive in now, 2026, going from side hustle to full time. So, excited, cool. Excited and scared.
Yeah. So this is this format of the show. A few weeks ago or something, I was trying to figure out like other creative ways to get guests on the show, and I was like, what if we did like an episode where I would do like a mini coaching session? I coach filmmakers and entrepreneurs, and I was like, what if we just did one that was specific? Because typically, like in the coaching sessions, we don't record them to go public, so that people can share, really vulnerable and stuff that might be sensitive information or whatever. So Derick's here to bear it all for everybody. I'm kidding. But that was kind of the model. And Derick said, yeah, let's do this. You can coach me on the spot. And so I should have had a couple of questions like, hey, is it okay if I ask about finances or anything? Like, because the more specific we can get, the better. I'm not going to put you on the spot, so we're not even going to go there unless you bring it up. But let's just start. Let's start with where you're at in your business currently. Like, what's working in the work?
What's working is when they see the final product and they're like super happy with it. It's just getting to the step like, hey, this is what I could do for you guys. This is what it's going to look like. They might not know what the final product's going to look like, but the people who trust me and we get to that final product, their reactions are just wonderful.
Yeah. So like getting the sale, that sounds like that might
be
the challenging part, getting them to,
a little bit.
To say that. Okay. And up until this point, like what has worked best for you to get new clients?
So I started out just walking into businesses, cold outreach, really. Yeah. I got a bunch of business from cold outreach. Seeing who's like in my circle, like who do I know that has this type of business? If there's, one connection there, that kind of led to another. I also, what's been really helpful is going to conferences and getting tables. So being able to showcase my work at like a historic conference or a local municipalities conference, getting in front of people with some demos and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And what would you say right now? I mean, what is the biggest frustration in the business?
So just the transition, like I mentioned before,
Yeah.
having, steady income, and then, I have some work right now, and then, you look a couple months out and you're like, well, I don't know what's gonna happen, but something's gonna happen. So yeah, I think which all just comes back to like the sales and the marketing and positioning of my company.
It's funny you say, a couple months out. It's like there's nothing. I mean, be thankful if you have a couple months worth of stuff because
Right.
there's a lot
Yes.
more. Like, yeah, next week I'm not sure what projects there are. And here's what I don't know if you can relate to this, but have you ever been like in the middle of one or two projects and you're like, okay, I'm going to be busy on these for the next 2 to 6 weeks, and so you're just head down because you're focused, like you don't really have much other time to production, plan the production, do the production, do posts, go back and forth, make revisions, and then you've got another project that you're kind of working on at the same time, and then maybe you get booked for another shoot, and then by the time you realize you're 6 weeks later and it's like, oh shoot, like these projects are wrapped, and I haven't closed any other projects in the meantime, and I haven't had the time to do any cold outreach. Or does any of that resonate?
That's where I'm at right now. So I just finished a 4-month long project, working hard. And then I look up, like you just said, and I have one like recurring client that I go shoot weekly.
Yeah.
So that helps a little schedule.
Hmm.
But yeah, looking for a next, mid-size, bigger project to carry me through. But yeah, right, I'm right exactly what
Yeah.
you said. And I'm kind of solo operator, so being able to balance, the marketing and the outreach as well as some of the editing. I do hire out when I can,
Yeah.
but it doesn't always work out. So yeah, just trying to balance it all and just getting comfortable in this new kind of groove I'm in.
I love
Yeah,
I love thinking about, or starting with the end in mind is one of my favorite. What is it called? Stephen Covey's Habits, right? Isn't that's like the habit?
sure. Yeah.
Start with the end in mind. So there's the dream scenario of like, man, I wish I had this many clients, or I was making this much money per month. That would be the dream. That's where I'm making excess, and I've got money to save and invest and like do some extra stuff, not just what I need to live by. And then there's the, okay, what I need to live comfortably, where maybe there's a little bit of extra margin, not a lot, but this would be comfortable living. If you're comfortable sharing, even just like how many clients per month, and or a dollar amount, per month. If you said like, man, if I was making this much per month, I'd be in a very comfortable spot.
Yeah. So I can relate it to my corporate job because that's kind of what I've known for the past while. But if I could hit like 10K a month, that would be great. I think then like right now, since that transition, I kind of halted on, saving, investing. I'm just trying to like figure out financials and, pay rent, pay what I got to pay. Luckily I don't have like any debt right now. So that's like a huge, relief. But I do want to get back to being able to, sock some money away, save up for a house, stuff like that. So I think around 10K a month, especially in New Jersey, prices are still very expensive here.
Yeah.
As sure as everywhere. But yeah, I think that's where I want to be.
Okay. That's helpful. Thanks for sharing that. When you look at, let's just say, the average spend of a client, like how much money does an average client that you have spend
Yeah.
on a video
So
project with
so my one recurring client, she's been faithful to me and we've been working since 2020. So she's locked in at a nice rate right
Yeah.
now. But as for my
Besides her.
one-off project, yeah, besides her, around like 3 to 5K
Okay.
for a project. So yeah, only like 2 to 3 a month would
Mhm.
be great. I did just close my largest project to date right when I got laid off. So I was like, okay, this is perfect. That was a 30K project
Yeah.
that carried me through a couple months. So um, yeah, that was nice. But being able to consistently hit that kind of 10K a month would be fantastic.
Okay. So on a $5,000 client, how many man hours are you putting into that project?
Oh, I kind of price it out. If I break it down I can't tell you man hours, but I know it comes out to be like $150 an hour, call it. That's kind of what I bill at,
Divided by 150.
or whatever it breaks down to.
Okay, so if that's accurate, that would be about 34 hours that you put into a project that you're gonna make or charge a client $5,000 for, which is almost a full week of work.
Yeah.
Right. So like if you were going to work 9 to 5 every day and have time for lunch and, a couple of meetings and whatever outside of that, like for you to produce a $5,000 project, like let's just say you start on Monday with some planning, and then Tuesday is the shoot, and then the rest of the week you spend editing. By the end of that week, potentially you could have let's just say a finished product, right? That sounds roughly
Sounds
accurate,
right.
the
Yeah.
numbers. So you have the capacity at this point, if you're booking these $5,000 projects and the numbers are accurate, right? The challenge that I'm going to have for you and for anybody is, by saying like, well, roughly it would work out to about $150 or $200 an hour or something like that. But then when we start looking at the actual time that we spend, it's like, shoot, I thought I spent 30 minutes looking for music, and I spend 2.5 hours looking for music, and I don't really add the time that it takes to create my call sheet and to do the calls back and forth with the client just to make sure we're on the same page. But now that I think about it, that's about 2.5 hours, and I haven't been thinking through that. So it's like, you start adding up all those little, like 1 hour here, 30 minutes there, and then you're at like 5 or 7 or 10 hours that you haven't really accounted for. I mean, 10 hours at $150 an hour is equal of $1,500. And if those costs are not being passed over to a client, it's like you're giving away your time, and you're giving away $1,500 worth of your skills.
Yeah, and that just happened with my most recent project. I kind of took double the time I thought it was going to take. So cut that down to $75 an hour, and paying some contractors. It kind of eats into your bottom line, but yeah.
And it's really helpful to know. It's really helpful to know, like, what's your minimum viable, like, for you to step outside and to walk toward a project that you're going to do at some point, even though, like, let's just say you're making $75 an hour, you might be losing money at $75 an hour when you look at all of the costs that you have inside of your business. So sometimes we think like, well, it's like better than no money. But if that project is going to take you 33 hours, and every hour you spend, you're losing $20 or $30 or $40 per hour, you add that up and think like, well, instead of taking this job and spending 34 hours on it, what if I spent 34 hours knocking on some more doors, going to another conference, emailing literally everybody in the world over the course of this week? That time investment, my hope would be that there would be some kind of return. If you've had clients in the past and you know what you're doing, you can get more clients, right? So it's not like that there's a limited amount of clients out there. They are out there. So if you've got some kind of a proven system where, people pay for your services and they get something and it's sort of working for them, then you can do it again. So I just say that because it's very easy to go week after week after week, year after year, realizing that, oh my gosh, this whole time I thought we were charging about $150 or $200 an hour, when in reality, when we start looking at our numbers, it's more like 60 or 70 or $80 an hour. And that will make a difference there. If the only thing you do is look at your time invested and start to charge it to ensure that you're covered in all of your hours. So maybe your $5,000 package, maybe it should be $5,500, or maybe it should be $6,000. So, stop selling it, stop giving it away at that price, or figure out how you can do it more efficiently so you're not spending the extra time on there.
Yeah, I agree. Thanks. Yeah. It's good to hear it though from somebody else, Yeah.
So if you do, let's just say you book these, you have a system in place and you're able to book like one client per week at $5,000. I mean, that's $20,000 a month. You're at like twice. You have the capacity, based on your average hours spent on a project like this, to do this. Can you do that? Is that sustainable? Every week, 48 weeks out of the year. I don't know. I mean, that's like, booking, shooting, doing it booking, shooting, doing it.
Yeah.
It's just like this constant. So, but that's $20,000 a month. That's like twice as much as you said. Like, man, I'd be happy at 10K. So, so you don't have to book 4 per month. If you
It is.
booked 2 per month, so that would be like a booking every other week, at this $5,000 rate, or 4 clients at $2,500. Do you have anything? Do you offer anything that somebody would pay $2,500 for?
Yeah, I do. I also work with a lot of golf club and country clubs, and the intro package is 3,500 actually, so it's a little more, but I've heard like from the golf clubs, like that's a no-brainer. We'll write the check today. So like that seems like a very entry level package for my clients.
Yeah.
So yeah.
First thing that I would do, like, man, are you using Perplexity or Comet?
Never even heard of them.
Okay, so Perplexity, is it Perplexity AI? Let me just make sure. Yeah, Perplexity AI. It's like ChatGPT.
Mm-hmm.
The research that it does is a lot more in depth and better, and I think more trustworthy. But there's also an app that Perplexity makes called Comet. It's like their own web browser app. Really, really cool. But if you typed into Perplexity, hey, help me find 100-mile radius from New Jersey, or well, maybe not, maybe like, a main city. What city are you located near?
We're near New York.
Okay.
30 minutes out. Yeah.
Yep. So if that's where you want to work, then it's like 50-mile radius, 100-mile radius from New York. Golf clubs, whatever else you said. Was it country clubs?
Historic sites.
Yeah, historic sites.
Yeah, country clubs.
So let's niche down. Let's just start with country clubs, and just say 50-mile radius, New York City, and tell me if leave out any ones that already have video, or include ones that have video if maybe they've seen the value in some video, but their videos are outdated. So it will put together a list for you. It can give you emails. It can create a spreadsheet for you so that you've got like all of this data, and then you can start. You said very first thing you said when you got going was you knocked on doors, and you said that worked. So knock on doors, send emails. But if you have a week where you're just like, I don't have anything going on, so give me a map, and for the next 5 days, I'm hitting every single place that I can. I'm going to prioritize and you could even, I don't know if Perplexity would do this, but you could drop it into ChatGPT and say, okay, here's where I'm located. Here's the list of places. Take me to, let's start with the biggest one and go down the very last one, be like the smallest one, and like, let's start the tour. And then you just, start showing up. And,
yeah.
What was, when you showed up to those places and actually were knocking on doors, like what was your pitch, or how'd you get in?
So I do like multimedia stuff. So I do video production, like that's what I like learned, studied. And I also do kind of immersive media. So like 3D modeling, virtual tours, combine them all into one big application. So I started by doing a free offer of a free virtual tour of their business. That's how I got my client of 6 years now, and kind of upgraded to video photography. So yeah, I started with a free, sometimes a low entry offer, something like that, and then kind of upsell. They got to know me a little, more personally, and then relationship grew from there. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it seemed like a golf course, country club could use something like that as well.
Oh yeah. I've done exactly that for golf clubs.
Yeah. So here's another hack. I don't know. This is an approach that we started in August, end of July. No, beginning of July. Nobody cares. Who cares, Ryan? Just say sometime last year. Over the last like 8 months or so, we use a service called Botdog. Botdog.co, I think is the URL. Botdog reaches out to people on your behalf inside of LinkedIn and will try to make connections. So what you do is you go inside of LinkedIn and you search for people that work at country clubs and try to get hold of sales and marketing, HR, just important people that would make a decision in regards to video. So we set this up almost a year ago, and every single day, I think it reaches out to like 20 to 30 people. And I create this little message, and the more niche and the more specific you are, the more that message is going to relate to the person. And so I don't send a message on the connection request. They get a message in their LinkedIn. It's like, hey, Ryan Corl's trying to connect with you. And they can say yes or no. You can add a message, but what we've heard is that you have a lower chance of you have a higher chance of somebody disregarding you or just declining your invitation if you include a welcome message. So that's interesting.
It's sad, yeah.
I will say that if you know somebody or you have a connection and you create that messaging to say that, that's going to be a high acceptance rate. But because what Botdog is doing is it's automating this whole thing, so it can only get so specific. So you can't say like, "Hey, I know that you know my buddy, Derick." It's not going to work like that, right? So we don't include a message on the connect, but we do have a message that goes out like 4 hours after they accept the request. So it doesn't seem like I'm sitting at the computer just like waiting to send them a message. Sends them a message. It's like, hey, enough of the LinkedIn song and dance. I don't love that, but I run this video production studio. We care about story. You're in marketing. You probably care about story too. So want to connect with like-minded people. A message like that. Anybody that responds, then I try to get the conversation going. I love the Go Giver method. Bob Berg, amazing book. One of my favorite books called The Go Giver. Like, how can I help you? Like, is there anything that you're doing? Any way that I can support you in the work that you're doing? Is there an introduction I can make for you? Would you guys ever be open to having a conversation about video? Like, are you doing video? I checked out your website. Doesn't look like you're doing video. Do you know that video can save your people? Do you save your people? Do you know that video can save your people time? It can help, we've worked with businesses that we've helped, increase their revenue, increase the time it takes to hire a new employee, like different things. Would you be open to a conversation about that? I don't want to pitch my services too hard at all, but if this is something that you guys have talked about, let's have lunch or let's hop on a Zoom or something like that. Interested? ? No, I'm not going to say all of those things, but to give you a sense of what we say. Now, what's awesome is that process is happening. Like, we've got the list picked. I think we have like 1,000 people in this one specific list. We're reaching out to companies that are running on EOS, the Entrepreneurial Operating System. So we've selected this as a niche, reaching out to all these people. That's working. And we've picked a couple of other verticals. And so this messaging platform, every single day, it's trying to connect to new people. So it will exhaust this list. And when it does, then we'll add new lists, or maybe we don't wait until it is exhausts, and we'll just keep adding more lists for it to connect. My connections, I have thousands of new connections that I never would have made on my own. I don't have enough time to go into LinkedIn and do all that. I had somebody that had received one of these messages. She's a marketing manager at a huge software company. She didn't even respond to my message. She just, started investigating, booked a discovery call. We had a call. She said, hey, we got $5,000. We want to do this video for our competitor. I said, hey, that sounds great. It sounds like, based on what you have told me in this call, that you would benefit from our storyline workshop. Would you consider this workshop before you jump into a video? Well, the workshop's $2,500. They ended up spending $2,500. We also told her, hey, we'll apply. If you do video with us, you have like 60 days where you can apply this fee to your video project to help incentivize. And what started out as a project where they were barely going to spend $5,000, they ended up spending, with the workshop included, $25,000 for this whole thing. The most amazing thing is, we set this up. It's been running in the background. There's nothing else that we have done outside of responded to some messages where people are like, hey, it's great to connect, blah, blah, blah. And in this case, she didn't even message us back. She booked a call and we booked this client. So I say all of that to say how important it is to have something running in the background, especially as a solopreneur, when you are the one responsible for the shooting, the editing, the planning, delivering more sales, all the other operations things, to find the things that can run in the background, like having a website that has good SEO, that where you have a website that has a free resource or a free download or something, an assessment, something to capture a client's email so that there's a reason why people come to your website more than just to look at your portfolio. I'm going to stop talking. Any of that resonates? Question mark.
Yes, it does. And yeah, that was kind of my next goal for this. Hopefully, closing out April here is getting some systems in place, finding some like AI that's kind of low entry level that I can work on, setting up some automations as far as my marketing and sales. So yeah, I think I'm on the right track, and I appreciate you sharing some of your tools. But yeah, I think that's where I have to go next, and keep growing. Yeah.
That's cool. I'll say too, I know Perplexity just added this feature called Computer. And I think with this whole thing, it's so weird. Like, I think you can set this up to reach out on your behalf. Now, I will say, if you do any cold email outreach, use a different URL. Don't use your normal domain. So, like for us, we've got tellstudios.com. We also, back in the day, we bought gototell.com. That was before we were called Tell Studios. But anyway, go to tell.com. I would start a Google Workspace with gototell.com and create a couple of email addresses with that account. Now that's going to cost $15 a month or whatever it is for Google Workspace for however many people. But that way you don't damage your own URL. If you do Perplexity Computer, and I know some of these other AI things are doing this, but you can have it search these lists of 25 golf courses and have it send out these messages automatically. You could even create like an AI assistant that's like Randy, and it's like Randy at gototell.com, and Randy's my appointment booker. And so Randy's sending out these emails. It's like, hey, we run the video production. You guys want to do video, like hop on a call, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Or it sounds like, maybe you even offer your free thing or your very low ticket thing. Telling clients that there's no strings attached, like with our workshop, the $2,500, it's if we get to the end of the 2 hours and the client doesn't like it, I'll refund them. And so for them to know that, oh, this is a money back guarantee, I won't make it weird. If this wasn't helpful or anything like that, I will give you your money back. So anything like any kind of guarantee, it's hard to guarantee a video. If you don't like the video or give your money back, it's like, really? Yeah. Like that's a lot of time and energy. I don't know if that's a smart move, but anyway, some of these tools you could set up to at least do that first round of reach out. It's going to cost some money, at least right now for some of these tools, but to have something that is running in the background while not your hair is on fire, but while hair can be on fire and you're doing 8 million other things, it's just really, really smart, right? And I think the last piece of advice I would have is making sure that you're doing your best to have a time on your calendar every single week where you have some type of sales activities. It's so obnoxious to think like, oh, I'm going to be selling this for the rest. Is this what I signed up for? I just want to make good work and have people hire me for good work. But if you're like most of us, that's not sustainable. Like, you might get some clients at the beginning, but you've got to have a consistent process in place. Otherwise, you will forever be on the roller coaster trying to find new client after new clients. But without a system in place, you're just making life a lot harder for yourself. So the sooner you can systematize it, great. But then the next step is to actually execute on the system and to do it week after week or day after day. And all of that investment over that is the long game. It will serve you in the long run. but it's going to take some time. It's going to take 6 months or 12 months for it to start paying off. But if you stick with it, it'll pay off.
Yeah. I'm hoping I can come back in like a year's time and tell you like, hey, I'm here, I'm doing 10K, maybe more a month. And yeah, I'm very motivated right now. So looking forward to this year.
I love that. Yeah. Let's have you come back on and share that story. Even if it didn't happen, let's just like pretend it did. And then
Right.
we'll be like, oh gosh, I got to hire Ryan to coach me. And I kid you guys. Well, this is fun. Anything else you want to share before we hit the road?
No, I think that's good. A lot to digest right now. Yeah, I appreciate your time for doing this.
Awesome. And if people want to touch base with you or reach out or check out your work or hire you, where is the best place for them to do that?
Yeah, you could check out my site at fishbowlmedia.co. That's .co. Or you could email me at Derick, DERICK at fishbowlmedia.co.
Awesome. And let's just like beep out that whole thing because I would rather people hire me instead of Derick. So a note to the editor. Okay, I'm joking again. Derick, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for letting me coach you and talk your ear off. I hope this was helpful, but really, really appreciate you. And good luck, dude. I'm excited for you.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you.
Hey, thanks so much for tuning into this episode of the Grow Your Video Business podcast. If you got something out of today's conversation, do me a favor, share it with a friend or post it on your socials. Tag me at Ryan Coral or at Grow Your Video Business. I'd love to know what resonated with you. If you've got a question or takeaway, drop a comment wherever you're listening or watching this. You can also shoot me a message. I read every single one. And hey, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. We've got more stories, strategies, and behind the scenes insights coming your way to help you build a business that you love. Keep creating, keep sharing your story, and keep showing up. I'm cheering you on. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you next time.